everyone, and welcome to Upgrad Grassroots. My name is Falgun Kompali, and I'm one of the co-founders of Upgrad. When I started Upgrad, I was 25 years old, and I didn't know much. But the last 6 years was an amazing journey filled with successes, failures, pitfalls, and a lot of learning. I'm here to share all that learning with you to ensure that you not only build, sustain, and grow your startup. For more such videos to build your skill, please do subscribe to the channel and check out the Upgrad Grassroots playlist. Well, you might be wondering if it makes sense to start up today. My personal view is that it definitely makes sense if you're really passionate about solving a problem that you see around you. Given how internet has democratized things and how the access to capital has increased significantly in the Indian angel and VC ecosystem, there is a lot of support for aspiring entrepreneurs. But that being said, some of the old challenges have not changed. You need to be extremely persistent, not look for instant gratification, and sign up for multiple failures and rejections. I think the most important thing is to pick something that you have total belief and conviction in. Because I can promise you that along the journey, there'll be enough opportunities for you to second guess yourself and quit. But unless you have that total conviction and belief, it is not really going to work out. So one of the questions you might be asking yourself is, can you do it alone? While being an entrepreneur is a very, very lonely journey, the answer to whether you can do it alone is absolutely no. I think it is very, very important for you to figure out how to find the right people to start this journey with and to endure this journey with. And having people who have the same amount of belief and conviction as you during this journey is really going to be helpful. Think of it this way, right? You might be having a really bad day and you might want to call it quits. But you need somebody along with you who is on that day not feeling the same way. Where, for example, when the first investor said no, or when regulations changed and the government said you can't do this, I really started questioning what we were doing. And having co-founders like Mayank, Ravi, and Ronnie really helped me push through that journey. You might be wondering how to hack the scalability and growth of your particular startup. I think while you have channels like Google, Facebook, Instagram, all of which help you reach your potential customers, everybody has access to that, including your competitors. So one of the things you need to realize, the most sustainable form of having this differentiated edge is to have a very strong understanding of the aspirations, motivations, and needs of your customers. Let me give you an example. When we started Upgrad, we started with a particular program in PG Diploma in Data Science. But over years, over the first couple of years of this journey, I met with at least 100, 200 of our learners to understand their experience and what their future aspirations are. And that's why we came up with the idea of then saying, based on everything that we have heard in terms of feedback, it is important that we launch a master's program. The idea that I'm trying to communicate is that it is very important to have a very strong connect with what your customers really need. And that is very important in terms of hacking your journey. And when you do that, I think you have a differentiated edge that will help you constantly hack the growth of your startup. We have talked about the tips and the growth hacks. And now let's talk about the potential mistakes to avoid. According to me, there are two key mistakes that any aspiring entrepreneur can make. The first is rushing into the entire fundraise process, which is very, very glamorized. And the second is about how to manage and build a great team while the company evolves. Coming to the first part of it, in terms of making sure that you do not get into the FOMO of raising money. Most entrepreneurs believe that raising money is some sort of success metric. While it is validation for what you're doing, you do not really need to congratulate yourself for raising money, right? It's like a chef congratulating himself for buying vegetables or a runner congratulating himself for buying shoes. It's a means to the end, but that's not the entire idea. So be careful in terms of when you want to raise money, who you want to raise money from, and do not get affected by the fact that somebody else is raising money at insane valuations. Because somebody is always getting richer than you, faster than you, and that's not a tragedy. The second part, which I talked about, is about building the right team. You need to build a very, very strong foundational team. And you need to stick with them, you need to give them feedback, and you need to grow that team along the journey. So you might be wondering, if you have it all in place, how do you then pitch to potential investors to raise capital. And on that front, I believe there are two very important things. The first is to communicate and establish that there are a lot of customers who are facing a potential problem, right? And this could be anything, but just communicating the fact that there are a large segment of consumers that are facing a problem, and you as an organization are trying to solve for that particular problem. So if you can establish with your investors that based on everything that you have done so far and the research that backs up the fact that this is a real problem that consumers are facing, you're creating a product or service to solve for that particular problem that consumers are willing to pay for, I think that goes a long way in establishing credibility with potential investors. And that's how investors also evaluate that, look, if it is a real problem and it's something that a large number of people are facing and they're willing to pay for a solution for that problem, that's how everybody makes money. You as an entrepreneur, investors, and everyone. So that's the first thing you need to establish. The second thing you need to establish when you say that, look, this is a problem that consumers are facing and there's a solution that is required, you need to establish the fact that you and your team are the best people to back to solve that particular problem. I think you've gone a long way in convincing potential investors that you're the right person and the right team to back. So a lot of you might be wondering on the very, very tough question of persistence versus being realistic, right? Where you decide that, look, this is a big enough problem and I want to continue despite all the failures that I've faced, versus saying that, look, it just doesn't work anymore. And it is a really hard decision to make. But if you were to ask what gives me the motivation to come in every day and say that I'm not going to give up, is consumer validation. If every day I'm getting emails from my customers and consumers saying that, look, whatever you have built is really helping me achieve the outcomes, my aspirations, my own motivations, I think it gives me a lot of confidence that despite all the failures that I'm facing, it could be an investor rejection, it could be a key team member leaving, but if I'm getting that kind of validation from consumers based on their experience of what I'm trying to solve, it gives me a lot of confidence that I really need to invest in solving this problem for the long term. And if I'm not able to do that, and I don't feel that we as an organization are doing enough or have identified the right problem to solve, and there is no consumer validation for the same, maybe at that point I will think of what else can I do. But as long as I'm receiving it, despite failures on multiple other fronts, I will make sure that I build the right team, have the right motivation, be optimistic, and continue to scale in terms of solving for that particular problem. And finally, just a couple of other tips. The first is to find and establish a very strong network that enables your success. For me personally, I have found that establishing a network of people I can talk to who are fellow founders, who are going through the same journey, who are probably more experienced than me, and have seen these pitfalls that I'm about to face, and learning from their journey has really enriched and has helped me avoid some of those mistakes. The second part is aligning people to your own success. People sometimes underestimate this, but having the right kind of angel investors, having the right kind of mentors who are aligned with your success is very important to make sure that you're not the only person who's trying to evangelize, but there are multiple people for you who are trying to evangelize, becomes very important to enable your success. The last part, and this is something that I did when I moved from being a consultant at Parthenon to starting Upgrad. I took a 2-week break and I read a lot of books, right? While it doesn't solve for the whole problem, obviously, but I think it gives you a great perspective on how multiple people have done it and what you can learn from that. And some of my favorite books are books like Hard Things About Hard Things, 0 to 1, Hooked on How to Build a Product. I love the book about Nike by Phil Knight, and also The Journey on Amazon, which is the Everything Store. So I think some of these books, these are my personal picks, and there could be many others, I think give you perspective on how people have built world-class legendary companies and what you can take away from their journey. So that's all, folks. Thanks for listening in. And for more such videos, do subscribe to the channel and check out the Upgrad Grassroots playlist.